Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to another week of Force Will News. I apologize once again for not being the fancy Force Will News. There's a lot of information I want to get communicated to you guys, and if I had done the regular one, probably would have taken me too long to edit and render with the green screen and everything to get to you guys in a timely fashion. So I figured this would be a better way to get this information to you guys. Before we get into everything, as always, if you guys are looking for Force Will singles or sealed product, including pre-orders of the next set of Awakening of the Ancients, and a cool new thing like pre-constructed popper decks for really cheap that come with things like dice, etc., be sure to visit the link in the description for Happy Little Hug Factor, where they have all that and a lot more. And if you click that link, it lets them know we sent you over, which helps them and us. And also, if you guys want to check out the Magnetic Playmat by DKP, be sure to click the link in the description for them as well. It's really awesome. It's for being able to play cards outside in the wind, inside for easy moving around of all your stuff, or if you're living janky places like I used to where you have a giant fan and stuff like that. Really useful for things like that. So click that link in the description below to check it out and see if you want to get it. Now I'm going to go through the regular news here, and then if you guys are, sorry about my dog, but if you guys are looking for the information regarding the New York GP and going over all that, be sure to just jump to this time code if that's all you came here for. But I'll go over the regular news first, and then go over that sort of big chunk of information and everything that we found out. So, first thing I kind of wanted to go over was confusion about the release date, and this was a topic brought up by Joshua Patton in the Force Will Global group on Facebook. And if you don't know Joshua Patton, he's one of the members of Rogues Guild. If you want to check out their YouTube channel, we've had him on to interview, as well as one of the members, Joe Schilling. But he brought up the point that Potomac Distribution, which was pointed out by Dylan Hunt, is not a distributor but just a large store. However, they have an incorrect release date for Awakening of the Ancient. It's the old one that was a lot sooner than it is. And he said he sort of searched and brought this topic up because he had gone to his local game store and asked if he could start ordering a pre-release kit. And the store said they couldn't because 1 week's notice isn't enough. And he was confused because the set doesn't come out till the 24th, I believe, so a month away. And the store said they were unaware of that, and they contacted Alliance, which is one of the big distributors, and Alliance said they have no idea when this set is actually coming out. So I thought that was pretty interesting that Force was possibly having trouble communicating the release date, which they've moved twice now. It's been pushed back 2 times. And so I assume maybe after the second time, it wasn't communicated well, because that's something that you not only should have communicated to distributors, but also to large stores, but also relatively well to locals, so that everyone can be prepared and ready for it, so people don't have to make sure everything's aligned and make sure that you're distributing your game correctly. And so I found that kind of like I said, interesting that some people and even a distributor is having trouble figuring out when the heck the release date actually is for the Force Will Awakening of the Ancients. So hopefully it's all figured out in the next couple weeks when they start getting that product out to everyone. But yeah. Next up, we gotta look at some new promos. So these are 2 promos. We had God's Choice and Sima Hugh, I believe, the crafty tactician. So that's pretty cool. God's Choice is one that's been used a decent amount from different people. So I thought that was cool to see that one. And they're both really cool artwork. So yeah, if you guys are looking to get these promos or any promos from Force Will, make sure that you guys are using TCG Meister at your locals, where you have to enter in your tournament information, how many people are in the tournament. It's basically the tournament bracket system, and submit it correctly, because that determines not only if your store will get promos, period, but also the quantity. If you have a larger amount of people coming, it'll give you more promos and such. If you guys are confused on how TCG Meister works, I recommend joining the Force Will Constructive group, or you can message Svetlana. She's the owner of Games and Geek, and she created a cool little picture-by-picture guide on how to correctly use that. So, yeah. Next up, if you guys missed it all, the Willpower Awards are being received, in case you guys haven't already received them. If you missed it, there was the regular Willpower Awards, which was 2 copies of each of those 5 rulers from New Valhalla. And we had one stretch of like 2 months where we were able to try and get VIP status and stuff again for the last bit of the Willpower Rewards app before it shut down in December. And so we're finally getting those rewards for them. And we were told that if you're a VIP from the time before, that you would get these rewards guaranteed, but it turned out you're only getting 2 of the 5 rewards guaranteed. There's 5 cards total. VIPs only get 1 copy of the 5 cards, and there's no VIP reward that's stamped or anything like that. And so the front side, as you can see, it looks like an Uber, and the front side is textured, which I thought was pretty cool. And the back side, as you can see, is this, which is pretty interesting. The community was pretty split as far as who liked it and didn't. Some people liked it because it was pretty unique. Others people didn't like it because it's pretty jarring how it looks. And it, in my opinion, at least some of them, not all of them, but some of them look like they were just filtered through a Photoshop filter for a good 5 or 10 minutes and then slapped on the card. Jeff Finnegan did comment saying that he was working on these and this was not the original intent. He said he was trying to go for more of the Pokemon Rainbow rares. And he would not have approved this design personally. I haven't seen these in person yet, unfortunately, but as of right now, I'm not a huge fan, except for maybe the Atom one, maybe. But I'm not a big fan of them. But in person, I've heard they're better in person, so I'll wait for full judgment to see there, because I haven't received my rewards yet. I hope I get them, but everyone seems to be receiving them, so hopefully. But yeah, so let us know what you guys think of those rewards. I mean, you know, it's cool that's something, but having those next to the cool alt art rulers we already have is a little disappointing for me, but we'll see. Next, Mr. Boatwater, who is an artist, he does Force of Will and a bunch of other stuff, released an image of the playmat that's going to be at the ARG Invitational this year. So if you look at it, it's 0 and it looks pretty awesome. I thought it looked pretty cool, so I'm pretty excited for that. ARG Nationals, I believe it is an event where if you got the invitation from winning one of the ARG events or what have you, you go to this, and it's going to be a cool big event that they do every year, so that'll be pretty exciting to see that event play out. And so now we got to look at the playmat, so yeah, I thought it looked cool. Also, spoilers for Arjun Saga have started. If you guys have been following Arjun Saga at all and haven't followed their Facebook page, I'd recommend going and following the official page or the group page. Both of them you'll see the spoilers in, and they've been releasing the spoilers for the starter decks, each one color at a time. We on TCG Scrubs will be going over them. Basically, we'll have a video for each starter deck color and basically have one video dedicated to each starter deck going over it, and we'll be filming that and releasing those videos throughout next week, maybe some later this week. We'll wait and see. A lot of stuff happening. I'll be over at the GP this weekend, so it depends if they'll film without me or not, but I'm pretty excited. There's some pretty interesting stuff already going on as far as like combos and effects, and you're starting to get an idea of how exactly the game will play, so I thought it was some pretty cool stuff to check out if you are interested in that game. Next up, Jeff Finnegan did a post on Facebook, and I thought this was important to address, especially if this becomes relevant news later on as well. But he did this post on Facebook where he just basically asked everyone to comment on the post, asking or recounting their experiences with Jeff. He said he's been pretty quiet about everything since he left the company, but he said he recently was accused by Dyco Printing, which is the company that took over Force of Will and is currently essentially running it. And he said he was accused of making misleading posts to essentially purposely damage the Force of Will community, and then they accused him of deleting said posts to hide the evidence. So he asked people to comment, whether it be positive or negative, just about their experience with him. And obviously, as you can imagine, it's all, as far as I can tell, all the comments were positive. I even commented on it because Jeff's always been, I feel like, very honest, and deleting comments sounds like a weird thing for Jeff to do. I can't recall. I mean, I'm sure he has. I've done that before, but I can't think of any time that he's deleted a comment or anything before. But he's always been straightforward and honest. If he said negative things about the company, he's said negative things about their actions in the past, as we're aware, especially like the interview with Rudy. But it's been in a positive light that's actually helped the company, and the company the game saw some of its biggest growth and health-wise under Jeff being at the company. So I thought that was crazy, that especially with how silent Jeff has been when he doesn't necessarily have to be silent since his being let go. It's crazy that they would come out with something like that. So we'll follow that and see if anything happens from that and keep you guys updated. So now for the big thing that people are probably wanting to know about, which is GP New York. So to get you guys caught up, it's a WGPQ, so it's being held by a game store, and it's being held at Kieran's. And basically they came out with a post that Todd had shared. They had posted publicly. I'll stress that they posted this publicly in the New York Facebook group about they were looking at possibly canceling the event because they weren't having communication with Force of Will about certain things. And so, after that basically caused a lot of concern among players, just because being canceled, but also it's so close to it. It's a month away. People have already bought things for it, such as planes or hotels, or requested time off of work and stuff like that. And yeah, so the event, like I said, is still a month away, so there's still was time for them to get in contact with the company if they were having some sort of communication issue, or if they were waiting to receive pricing. We still got a month for them to be shipped pricing. It comes from Japan, so it takes a while. And I covered in last week that players had even proposed to pitch in money in order to create an invite for Worlds as an extra incentive for people to come play and everything, to make up for the fact that it was switched to an unpaid invite by the company. Just this week, though, earlier, yesterday or the day before, the owner of the store posted to the Force Will Global Group and announced that the event is officially canceled. Yeah, so before I get into the details of that and everyone starts freaking out about there not being an event, period, Force Will already has an event replacing it, and the event is in Pennsylvania. But if you're flying to JFK Airport to go to the original event here, that was in Kieran's store, the Pennsylvania event is almost an identical distance. It's actually 20 minutes shorter drive from the airport than to that one. So distance-wise, it's identical. But I'll get into more of that replacement later. But just wanted to say that on the outset. But in the post, and all of this that I'm going over, there's if you guys want to read more detail about specific things I'm talking about, I will have screenshots and everything on the website. The link in the description below for the article version of the news. And at the very bottom, I'm going to have all these screenshots compiled from the different posts and things like that. If you guys don't want to take my word or summarizing of it, you can go and just read them verbatim and stuff like that. And that applies to most of these. Obviously not everything I can post screenshots of, but everything that I personally can post screenshots of, I will. But in his post, he said the company canceled the event. He had heard the event was canceled through a former employee. He went on to say that he was going to cancel the event anyways, but once he heard the company was canceling it, that he decided to cancel it. Well, obviously because of that. But he was going to cancel it anyways because he didn't have direct communication with the company and had not received all that was promised. All that he said was promised was pricing, such as cards and everything. Sort of top tier judges, specifically he had said like well-known judges, I guess. Streaming of the event and the paid invite. Of all those things, he was for sure going to be getting the pricing from the company. Judges he would have access to as well, just as a matter of who was available. But most likely if he had asked, I'm sure some of the higher tier judges would have obliged. And the stream would have been up in the air. That's up to both if Jeremy had time to go out and if he got sponsored by different stores to come out, like he has in the past couple events. And the paid invite, like I mentioned, was going to be covered by the community. So basically the only thing that wasn't guaranteed was the streaming. After making this post, he stated that he also was leaving the Facebook group so that no one could contact him through Facebook, only through email, where he left his email address. And one thing that I forgot to mention last week when I had talked about this whole thing was that players who attend his store also said that the store basically doesn't care too much about Force Will. They've been slowly drawing back the support and have, I don't know if they've been vocal or basically it's been implied that they want to stop supporting Force of Will. And so that's important information, I think, to know going into this as well. And so this culmination kind of feels expected because of that, but it still sucks. So I reached out to the owner via email with some questions, and I did get an email response. And that full email, like I said, will be on the article. But to summarize, he talked about how he was promised all those aspects I just talked about by Rob, and that he said after the company takeover, he attempted to talk to the company both via email and in person at the Gamma, and he said he was unsuccessful both times. He said Svetlana, who's the owner of Games and Geek, started to question him about different things and talk about the event. And he said, in his words, that she put herself between him and Force of Will, even though she does not represent Force of Will, which led to communication problems. Although one interesting thing I want to note is that he said that, and at the very end of the email, he suggested that I go and talk to Svetlana to get more details, since she is acting on behalf of Force of Will, which seems to contradict that first statement. So in one breath, he said that Svetlana was putting herself between him and Force of Will for communication, even though she didn't represent Force of Will. And at the end, he suggested I talk to Svetlana since she represents Force of Will. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little bit there. He went on to talk about specifics regarding the judging and prizing he was hoping to have, but was unsure of. He said the former employee he talked to, who in the post we found out was Jeff Finnegan, had contacted him after talking to Kim, the current CEO of Force of Will, to say the event was canceled. Though the owner said he was gonna cancel it anyways because of all the drama surrounding it. Though I'm not sure what drama he's talking about, because I hadn't heard about any drama surrounding the New York GP until he posted that he was going to cancel it. And after that, of course, there's going to be drama if you publicly post that you're going to cancel the event. But he was already thinking about canceling it because he made a post about canceling it. So I'm not sure if there was drama before that I just wasn't aware of, but there's that. He seemed to confirm he was okay with helping those players who were raising money for a World's Invite. They basically were short $200 to $500 to confirm it, and so they had asked the store to cover it, and he said he was actually okay with covering that to entice players to come. So I'm not sure where that, because the players weren't fully aware that he was okay with that, so I'm not sure where that communication broke off. At the end of the email, he said the biggest problem he had was he plans events months ahead of time, and since the event happens in a month, and 1 month from now, there isn't enough time to find judges, product, and possibly a venue. But one important thing to note is, he even said this in the email, is that he's known about this event for 6 months, and he said in the email he's been aware of the management change, including the revoking of the paid invite, etc., since it happened, which was back in February. So, in response to asking if he'd ever consider hosting this event, if anything changed or the company did anything, he said he would not. And that was before I found out that they had already found a replacement venue or store. Now, on the flip side, Svetlana was officially asked by Force of Will to communicate with him, so she wasn't doing it at random. Force of Will did ask her to do that, since they aren't good at communicating in English, and they don't have too much experience with events, so basically they tell her the general sense of what they want, and she's able to communicate that correctly, since she knows how these events run and everything, so they did contact her to help with that. So everything she did was in official capacity. As far as the company itself canceling the event before the store owner canceled it, I'm not sure of that. I can confirm that once that store owner did the initial threat of canceling the event, the company did start to look at backups just in case he did end up canceling, so that they weren't just left hanging. So I'll update the article or somewhere else or in the comments if I find out official confirmation on whether or not if the company actually tried to cancel it or not. It could be something as simple as a communication error, where Jeff had talked to the company, Force of Will, and they said that they were looking for alternate places to Kieran's store because it was going to be canceled, and basically and you would construe that as they're canceling it, so they're looking for a backup event, but the intent might have been they think it's that the owner's going to cancel it, so they're looking for backup events or places in the event that he does cancel it. But we don't know for sure, obviously, what the official thing is there, but it is important to note that the new event was posted pretty quickly with all the prize support ready to be sent to them and everything, so it's not doesn't seem like too big of a communication problem with the stores, and that's a trend we've sort of seen where the company is absolutely terrible at communicating with the community or anything like that, but they seem to be pretty decent with communicating with stores. So let's see where I left off. And I did actually see evidence that Force Will Company did in fact communicate with Kieran's store on the days he claimed to have no communication with them. In this evidence, they asked if the company asked if Kieran had received all the promo and price support for the GP, in which his store replied that they had not, and then asked about what to do for judges and how to contact judges. Force Will replied to them saying that they would like to know their numbers that they will estimate they think they'll have, and different things like that, so that they can estimate how much price support to send them. And after they get information for that, they'll start talking about the judges and the nitty-gritty of that. Now, I didn't see if there was any replies after that, so if there were replies after that, I don't know, but that does show at least the days that the store said they, like literally the days they did those Facebook posts saying they never hadn't heard from the company in a while, they received those emails. So that is an important thing, I think, to note. And since the cancellation, like I said, a replacement store was found almost instantly. You can see that now updated in the events section of the Force Will website. The event, like I said, is closer to the airport than before, but it is a week difference date-wise than the original event, which still sucks for people who bought plane tickets or hotels or time off of work and stuff. Basically doesn't help them at all, although people who were in the area for Kieran's store did say that they'll try and put something at least fun together for people to do who might have be coming out already and don't have a choice now. So it sucks that the Force Will wasn't able to secure the same date as it, and it is important to note that the new date is on the same day, I believe, as release or pre-release, something like that, of the new set, which will be interesting to see as well. And that's a little bit unfortunate, but it might have been the only date they could secure in a 1 month's notice, which is understandable in a sense. But at least the speed of the replacement was within 48 hours of the official announcement that the guy was canceling it, so that is great for them. Doggo. Fits. But yeah. And another interesting note is the pricing did change for the event as far as the cards. The interesting thing is, because Oscar actually noted this, was we've received the Monostone promos from Europe as regular promos for the past couple months. Not that we've actually seen them, but they're supposed to be promos for 4 of the stones, but we never saw the 5th one, and this has that 5th one, the Wind Stone, for the pricing for it. So there's the 5th stone, which I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, so that's the basic summary of it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, let me know below, and also let me know your thoughts on that matter as well. Hopefully I went over that all correctly and accurately, but yeah. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys next time.